G'day, welcome to iCULTIVATE. My name's Steve. Today we're going to have a quick look at pruning camellias. When it comes to pruning camellias, it really is quite simple and straightforward. You're going to need a couple of pieces of equipment to start with. So firstly, some secateurs, making sure that they're very clean, of course. Potentially you may need some loppers depending upon how large the branches are that you're going to remove. And I'm also going to, in this instance, be using some hedges as well. Now the process is fairly similar no matter what type of camellia you're pruning. In this instance we've got a sasanqua. And you can see with this particular one, it's had a fairly heavy prune at some stage in the past. And the way you prune it is really going to depend upon the type of look and feel, the sort of aesthetic that you want with your camellia. Now in my case, I want this camellia to be fairly structured in shape, and so while I am going to have a good look at the internals of it, I am going to predominantly do this pruning with hedges. So one of the really big questions that people ask when it comes to pruning camellias is really, when should I prune? And the best time to prune your camellia is just after it's finished flowering. I actually would even go as far as saying prune a little bit earlier rather than a little bit later. And if it means you have to sacrifice some flowers, and you can see that this one has a small number of flowers still on it, but predominantly its flowering has finished, this is the time I would recommend that you start to prune your camellia. Just around that time it is finishing its flowering. Now I'm going to look for a couple of things in this camellia before I prune. One of them is any dead or diseased branches. If there are any dead or diseased branches, I'm going to remove them. So that's the first thing I'm going to look for, but I've already had a bit of a look on this one and it's in pretty good shape. There's not any real dead or diseased branches amongst it. So the second thing I'm going to look for is actually opening it up. A little rule of thumb is we want enough space amongst the branches so that a small bird could flit in and out of the plant itself. We don't want a massive dense growth habit of the actual camellia plant itself. So I'll thin it out a little bit and then I'll get the hedges out. So with it thinned out a little bit, what I'm now going to do is to take the hedges over the outside of it, taking off these extra growths that you can see here and giving it a bit more shape. Generally when pruning, people will suggest that you should only prune back to just above a bud. But in this particular instance, because I want to achieve a specific shape, I'm going to be less focused around that. So let's get the hedges over the top and around this camellia to give it that shape. So with the hedges, I've now got this in roughly the shape that I want. We've got that additional unwieldy growth removed. I'm just going to now touch up with the secateurs and as I mentioned before, open up some of the branches and then our job will be done. So let's get this finished. So there we have our camellia pruned. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. Can I please ask you to go down to the thumbs up and give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and go to our website iCULTIVATE.net and become a member of the community. Thanks for watching.